Welcome back, guys. It is 9:30 in the morning on a Wednesday. Today we are going to go have some fun because it's my day off school. So we're going to go test out some ammo for one of my guns, and the other one we are going to take to the 1,000-yard range. Let me just show you what we're working with here. This is my Model 700 long range. It's chambered in 300 Win Mag. Scope is an SWFA. It's a fixed 10 power. So not that much magnification, but turns out that's all we really need to get out there. It's the factory stock, and then we have a whip machine. This is actually a clamp on. For those of you who don't know about them, basically you gotta get a caliper measurement of your barrel at the muzzle, your barrel 1.5 inches back. You send that to them, they custom cut it for you. And as sketchy as it sounds, clamping on a muzzle brake and all those forces, it hasn't budged even a little bit. They machine those really well. They work really good, especially considering like this is a factory Remington barrel, and they just aren't all that impressive or worth, in my opinion, taking it out and threading it and all that. So that was a good option. Scope, like I said, is just a Tasco, or not a Tasco, an SWFA, fixed 10 power. It has, you know, your parallax and all your stuff, and there's like 120 MOA of adjustment, which of course we don't need for a 300 Win Mag, but it's always good to have. So that's what we're working with there. The other one, we're testing ammo for this today. I am approved to go out there with Hornady Black ammunition. It shot basically a 0.8 inch group with Hornady Black. It's a standard AR-15. It's aero precision upper and lower. That was a matched set. Then we have a deadshot barrels, spiral fluted barrel with another whip machine brake. That's the same, well, obviously a scaled down brake for this. This is chambered in 6.5 Grendel, so it's another really good 1,000-yard caliber. I get out there with a decent bit of adjustment, but not a whole lot. The scope is a primary arms 4-14 by 44, and it's of course got plenty of adjustment to get out there. So we're working up some hand loads for it now. I got some 130 grain Burger hybrid match. Let me just go get the ammo, hold on. It's right here. Goes in a standard GI mag with a different follower. I'll just get both sets of ammo so you can see what I'm working with as far as Win Mag goes. The Win Mag, you guys know about Remington's nonsense and some of their low quality productions. This gun shoots freaking lights out. Like it's a half-minute gun in its factory form, but my 300 Win Mag load is a 230 grain Burger, the Burger open tip match. It's a really heavy bullet. This is a 1 in 10 twist barrel, so it really doesn't belong in this barrel. But what I did was backed the charge down to 64.5 grains over reloader 22, and it is perfect. I get consistent half-minute accuracy with that gun. The Grendel, these boxes are way too big. I use Hornady brass for both of them. Hornady brass 130 grain hybrid match. My gun is a Grendel 1 chamber, so I don't have a whole lot of throat to bump those bullets out, but basically my overall length is 2.235, and that's about 20 thousandths off the lands. So we're going to check that. We have a range of powder weights from 28 grains of CFE 223 all the way up to 32.5. So a pretty stout charge here on the upper end. We're going to see we're going to start obviously in the low and see what our pressure looks like, and hopefully we can get up to those higher pressures because they really get those 130s moving fast. For those of you who have seen this and you don't know what it is, basically, here, I'll go grab it. If you guys watch long range shooting videos, I highly recommend that you go and you watch their channel. It's called Mark and Sam After Work. He's an Australian who shoots ridiculous long ranges. He has this 300 Win Mag, the exact same gun, and he takes that thing, I want to say, to like 3,000 meters or something like that. Just crazy distances with that. And it's a factory barrel too. Everything that's sitting right here, except for he has a Night Force on it, which, you know, I wish I had, but I don't. So let me show you the inspiration for that pull I have here on the bottom. Basically what we have is our bag rest, and he makes this bag rest. He manufactures it. It is basically a little bit of aluminum and some steel, and the idea is this is your adjustment. So instead of squeezing your bag for your elevation, you just turn a little dial, down it goes, and then of course you can spin it back up. So it really helps to stay stable. And then the reason for this rider itself is, you can see these stocks have an angle cut in them, and this is your typical like hunting style stock. That's just how they are. So what we did was a piece of aluminum and then a steel tubing with a wooden dowel drove down in it, and then it's basically screwed in place. So the reasoning behind that is, and I learned a lot of this from him, he's very good at explaining stuff like this. Whenever you fire a rifle, the energy's naturally coming straight back from the chamber. The direct line of the barrel is the direction that the recoil is going to come straight back. So the idea is for you as the shooter to be right behind that energy, and when the gun recoils, you want it to recoil straight back. So we have a steel rider in there that's going to pull and push this gun straight back as I shoot it. And of course this isn't really practical for something that you're going to take around hunting if you had this, but if you're target shooting on a budget, this is the gun for it, and this I find is a great way to do it. I'm not like a remarkably experienced long range shooter. Like, I've shot 1,000 yards maybe 3 times, and this really does make it easy. I mean, I laid down, I dialed what I was supposed to dial for this round, which it's moving pretty slow. It's 300 Win Mag and they go in about 2650, but it's a big heavy bullet, and the ballistic coefficient's over 0.7. So basically we have 30 MOA to get to 1,000 yards, which, I mean, that's a decent bit of drop, but 30 MOA is nothing. I mean, that's, of course, if I got it going faster and was hot rodding rounds, I could get it there a lot faster, but the bullet isn't as stable going that fast. And the chamber in this, that's what I was getting to earlier. I found with really hot loads, whenever the brass fire formed, I would get a ring right around the belt, like there was almost a burr in the chamber. So I was getting stuck bolts and stuff like that, and then like the bolt would lift but it didn't want to come back out, and I think it was a burr in the chamber that was just preventing that. So I'm going to get this stuff packed up. We're going to go to the range. I'm going to bring you guys along with me, although I'm not going to be able to talk a whole lot because there's going to be other people around and range officers, and I've never seen someone else there with a camera, so they might find it a bit weird, but it's going to be a lot of fun. This is going to double for me as an indicator of how my shooting's going. I want a video to make sure that rifle is coming straight back and see and diagnose and see if there's anything else I can do to help it. Wow, but this should be a lot of fun, so hang out. Alright, so turns out, light in here is terrible. Turns out the 1,000-yard range is not open today. They're doing the NRA World Shooting Championships. I'll show you the side here. So apparently that's going on. And I guess, I mean, they have a website. I didn't check it. I've never had a problem going to 1,000 yards before, but so we're just gonna head up here to where they have up to a 300-yard range. It's pistol, 50-yard rifle, 100-yard rifle, 200-yard steel, 300-yard steel. Because we have some ladder testing to do anyway on that ammo, so we'll just do that today, and next week we'll have to go to 1,000 yards, and I'll bring you guys along for that for sure, because it is a whole lot of fun. But that's okay. We'll get some load workup done and figure out a good round, and then next week I'll just go to the 1,000 yard range with both guns, and you'll get to see that. So that's fine. It worked out okay. So I'm headed here now up the hill. I'll see you guys back in a minute. That's a one whole group. Wow, don't know how that didn't go off. Let's see if it'll fire.
I don't know. You know they're allowed to look at the course today.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of competition it is. We said a couple different things, right?
Yeah, here. Instead of going up that way, and they're here for luth course. They have one, like long range or world championship. I know they got big different things going on. Bunch of people have to kind of finish setting up and.
That is just a crater, and it's still not going off. It's a hard primer, really hard primer. Set that aside.
I think he wants to shoot rifle at 100, but I'm going to shoot 50.
want to try to put a gun on 50, then shoot 100. Is there any way I can just kind of...
What?
And not like 5, shoot it.
So we're at 31.6 grains.
Yep. And that way you're lined up with your first target at the 100. Cool. Now the targets go, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He's in the target one, so there's still room between these.
That's no good.
Normally the first four.
Alright. Back to 30.8.
Time of day. Come with it, brother.
Alright. Let's confirm 0 here.
I'm on the wrong side of his gun there. I'm on the wrong side of his gun there.
Yeah, we work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then we're off Monday and Tuesday.
Yep. Alright. Alright guys, so we're back on the range. Obviously you can see I've changed. I had to go to school for a meeting. So, then the camera died at the range, that's why you didn't get to see much of the Win Mag. But here's some of the groups we shot with the Grendel today. This was our first group. That was, let's see here, 28.3 grains, CFE 223. All these are CFE 223 and 130 grain burgers. That one here, 0.770 MOA, 3-shot group. They're all 3-shot groups as well. 0.789, that was 28.6. So it looks like the gun, I think we might have had a flyer here. I'm not exactly sure. I can't remember right now. It's been a couple hours, but as you can see, the gun does pretty well. It's on average about a 3/4 minute gun. We have a 1-inch group here. This actually, believe it or not, is 3 shots. There was 2 in one of the holes, but it turned out to be, a 1/2 inch there, and that was 29.5 grains. So it looks like that's going to be our max because things start to consistently open up from there. 0.9. This was, I don't know. Okay, so I wrote known flyer at the time. I must have remembered I pulled that one. 860, 1.2, and then we're back down. This was only a 2-shot group, but that was 3/4 of a minute. And then, like I said, things just start to open up from there. This was like a 2-inch group with 32.2. And okay, so that was a flyer as well. I wrote that, but these two, this is what I was a little bit confused, because these two were like, I mean, that's like I wrote here, 0.38 MOA, and then we had one all the way up here. So maybe we had a flyer there, because this one is even a higher charge. Or sorry, that was a higher charge. This one's, I don't know. I need to find not really consistent data. I mean, the gun's performing well. Maybe I got some of the groups mixed up, because it's not like I went down. I didn't label them beforehand, so maybe that was the problem. But the gun's performing well. I think we're going to end up with a lighter charge, because I did start to see some ejector marks on some of that brass. The primers weren't all the way flat yet, but we know that's not exactly the best indicator of pressure. So the gun did very well. I'm pretty happy with it. The 1,000-yard range wasn't open, so I'm going to load up probably some of that, what was that, 29.5 grains. And this CFE 223 is supposed to make it go really fast. It's supposed to be the velocity king of the Grendel powders, which the Grendel isn't even recommended for it, but we're going to load up some of that 29.5 grain, and it behaved pretty well, so I don't think we need any closer to the lands. We're going to load some of that, see if we can get a 1-inch 5-shot group, and then head out to the 1,000 yards. And then we'll bring the Win Mag that day too, and you'll get to see that. 1,000 yards is a lot of fun, but they had the NRA World Championship sponsored by Kimber there today. So we weren't able to do that, but that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it gave you a little bit of information if you're thinking about a 6.5 Grendel. If you wanted a recommendation on a barrel, Deadshot Barrels makes a fantastic 6.5 Grendel barrel. I mean, I shot consistently about 0.8 MOA on Hornady Black 123 grain AMAX. I mean, that's not, I mean, it's match ammo, but it didn't meter all that well. The chronograph was somewhat inconsistent. I think my extreme spread on that stuff was like 60 feet a second or something, where my hand loads for my Win Mag are, I think my extreme spread on that, it's like 13 feet a second. So we'll work up a hand load, and we'll update you guys whenever we get that finished. Hope you enjoyed the video. Keep in touch, because we got a lot of cool stuff going on soon. I actually just got some parts in today for the Vepr build. Not the barrel yet. We haven't got the barrel yet, but it's a lot of fun in the future. So stay tuned, subscribe,